Hi, this is Mike, and welcome back to 5 Minutes of Fantasy Sports. So, today I want to talk about some resources outside of Yahoo that I will utilize. And one of them is a specific website, and that website is Fantasy Pros. So, I got it pulled up in a tab here if you take a look at the screen if you're on the YouTube channel. But Fantasy Pros has all kinds of different fantasy information. You can see on the main screen here. It's got the waiver wire rankings. So I'll right click on that to open it in a new tab. We'll look at that in a second. But it's got all kinds of things: who I can start, waiver assistant, free agent finder. What you can actually do is you can import your team into the website, and it'll kind of give you some lineup advice or assistance as you go through it. So I think I've done that. I haven't used this in a while. But if you click on the little person here, if your computer is faster than mine, it'll pop up, but it should let you see which teams you've imported and give you some ideas as far as what you can do to get ready for it. So, tool, lineup assistant. I guess I could try clicking on that. Yeah, import your team to get started. So it's looking like I'm not signed in. So let's take a look at the waiver wire rankings. They'll go through and let you know who they think you should try to pick up. So they're saying Van Jefferson on the Rams. Maybe they're thinking he'll fill in a little bit for Robert Woods going down for the season. Ty Johnson's pretty high up there. Chicago Bears defense, Valdez Scantling. So these are some of the same people we talked about the other day. Latavius Murray is an interesting option to look at in Baltimore. Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, Quadri Olison. I don't know much about him. Running back. So they're thinking maybe if Mike Davis or Cordarrelle doesn't play, he would be the third string guy. Jamison Crowder is pretty high. I was recommending him as well. Robbie Anderson. Logan Thomas. That's not a bad person to look if you need a tight end. So anyway, it puts them here, and it also tells you how much they think maybe you should spend on the person. So that's supposed to be somewhere on this part, but so here we go. Ty Johnson, Jamison Crowder, boring but useful choice. That's a nice way to put it. All right, so this website, it does have waiver wire rankings. It also has a lot of other NFL tools. Who should I start? This is the thing I was trying to get working. But anyway, if you go to NBA, I like using some of their NBA tools as well. And I don't worry about the daily fantasy stuff, but it's got the same kind of things, right? It's got the waiver wire pickups for the week. It's got the rest of season rankings, waiver pickups by category. I think it's this website, but it also has basically who you should... Sorry, how many teams play which week. Where is that here? Tools, maybe? It might be a different website I use for that. All right, so I can walk you through the process of the free league sync. It says Fantasy Basketball League syncs will be open in September. That's not helpful because we're in November, so that's a little behind schedule, it looks like. I don't remember my login for all this. So anyway, that's one website that I use for sure. But let me use the other one for basketball. So fantasy basketball games next week. If you do a Google search for that, the one you want is hashtag basketball. It's got a pretty nice little grid here for you. And what you can do with this one is it shows you, you can sort it. So you can pick your week. So if you're looking for this week, you can sort it by games, which teams have the most games or the least games. So if you have Dallas or Denver, you're only getting 2 games from your players this week. Brooklyn, so you can see there's a lot of 3 games. Thanksgiving kind of messes it up. So you're either getting 3 or 4 games, it looks like, this week. So that's kind of a useful thing to look at. They also, I think, have a... they have a few other tools where you can look at fantasy basketball, trade analyzer, rankings, projections, advanced grid. They have all kinds of things for you to look over and research. They do daily articles, it looks like, as well. So these are both good websites to look at. Fantasy Pros, Fantasy Basketball. They'll give you some ideas, and then obviously you need to analyze your team and figure out who you think would fit in with your team, or maybe what categories you're trying to pick up, because you want to play on your players' strengths and your players' weaknesses, especially in fantasy basketball. If you got a team that's heavy in rebounds and blocks, you might want to just keep dominating that and pick someone else up who's moved into a starting role and wants to get a lot more rebounds and blocks. So that's something to consider as well. So anyway, utilize those two resources. It can be something that you can be successful with. And that's all I have for you today. I'll talk to you tomorrow.